Do you believe that there is actually a hotel which has been open for 30 years, but this hotel never had a single guest? Yes, you heard me right. Not a single guest for 30 good years. Well, if you don't believe me, allow me to introduce you to the Rogan Hotel, which is located in North Korea. This North Korea hotel is now the tallest building in North Korea, which has been abandoned and has never hosted a single guest. Can you imagine how bad this is? Not even one guest. The construction of this 105 stories hotel began in 1987. Throughout the construction phase, it was stopped and started several times over 3 decades. But what indeed happened to this hotel? And would this hotel ever register a single guest? Let's find out the story behind this skyscraper. In 1987, work began on the Rogan Hotel in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang. The name of this hotel means capital of willows, which was also one of the historical names for Pyongyang. This hotel was to be over 1,082 feet or 300 meters high. It was supposed to have 3,000 rooms, a bowling alley, a nightclub, and 5 revolving restaurants at the top. It was even due to open in 1989, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Due to this hotel was even branded as the worst building in the history of mankind. The question we should ask is, why has it taken so long? And why does a country like North Korea, that doesn't exactly welcome most foreign visitors, even need such a huge hotel? What is the point? Well, to fully understand this, we need some background understanding. Back in the dark and depressing days of the Cold War, South Korea was backed by the US and North Korea was backed by the Soviet Union. In 1987, South Korea was developing into a capitalist democracy and was about to host the 1988 Summer Olympics. The generals in South Korea were losing their grip and they even held a free election. The country was opening up and a building boom began, especially in the capital city, Seoul. The two countries were incredibly competitive, and earlier that decade, their craftiness had even extended to who had the highest flagpole at the border. In addition to hosting the Olympics, in 1986, a South Korean firm had just completed building the Westin Stanford in Singapore. The hotel was at that time the tallest hotel in the world, so North Korea didn't want to be left out. They decided on 2 ways to compete with its neighbor South Korea. The first way was to host the World Festival of Youth and Students. This festival was a kind of socialist version of the Olympics that had been going on at somewhat random intervals since 1947. In preparation for their alternative Olympics, they spent an estimated $4 billion on new roads, infrastructures, and a stadium. The second big announcement was the construction of what was to be the tallest hotel in the world, the 105 floors Rogan Hotel. This hotel was due to open in time for the festival. But soon, it became clear that the 1989 target was way too ambitious and the plans were changed. The hotel was then going to open in 1992 instead, in order to celebrate the 80th birthday of Kim Il-sung. Unfortunately, although the building had reached its 180 feet height by 1992, problems with building materials and building methods had caused numerous delays. By that point, the construction had cost around $750 million, which is the equivalent of 2% of North Korea GDP. That is so unfortunate. Everything just went bad. The building was essentially a windowless shell. Then work stopped altogether for 16 years. In 1991, the Soviet Union collapsed. Until then, the economies of North and South Korea weren't that different. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, the North had a major economic crisis. From 1992 to 2008, the Rogan Hotel stood half-finished with no windows, no features, and no fittings. Even the rusty old construction cranes stuck at the top of the skyscraper became too corroded to use. This was really a huge embarrassment to the North Korean government, who simply tried to ignore it. In fact, they even went so far as to manipulate photos and erase it from images. It was even excluded from official maps. And it was during this period, as the structure decayed due to these problems, there were speculations that it would eventually have to be destroyed because it seems unlikely it would ever be finished. Towards the end of 2016, there was a report that a representative of the Egyptian company Orascom had visited North Korea, and the North Korea government made an investment deal with this company. This company was paid to provide the country with a 3G network. The deal was 400 million American dollars. Out of these 400 million dollars, 180 million dollars were to be allocated into finishing this hotel. In 2017 and 2018, work was going on at the sites and access roads were even constructed. In July 2018, an LED screens that had been added to the entire side of the building started showing animations and movie scenes. That same month, a sign was erected that simply read "The Rugan Hotel" in Korean and English. In 2019, there was new signs which was posted above the main entrance, but unfortunately, since then the doors have remained shut. Activities continue to be reported. Simon Cockrell, the general manager at Korea Group, which is a Beijing-based company that specializes in North Korean tours, has actually been inside this skyscraper. When he was asked on CNN about the likely opening of the Rugan Hotel, this is what he had to say. It is very hard to say because since the building was clad in glass, you can't see inside. No doubt something is going on. It is a very large building. It is not inconceivable that some part of it may open before the whole of it could open. If it was my building, I would focus on the top and the bottom. So literally, on the inside of this hotel, this is how it looked like with no single guests. But the thing I don't understand here is, why would the government spend much money on fancy light walls when they could just spend that money on completing the inside of the building? Well, just saying though, the North Korea government are really more focused on spending money on things like nuclear weapons, military, and even weird infrastructures, just to show their power and dominance to the outside world that they are the real deal. But I don't really think the government even have any plans to open this hotel as a functioning hotel. I think these guys have literally gave up on this hotel. But if this hotel does ever open, it will no longer be the world's tallest hotel. It won't even be the tallest building on North Korean peninsula. That is now the Large World Tower in Seoul, which is 800 feet taller. But it will lose its status as the Guinness World Record holder for being the world's tallest unoccupied building, which we can say it will probably be a good thing though, because it would have been useless anyway with no single guest living inside the hotel. So what do you really think about this hotel? Do you think this hotel will be able to attract any visitor? Do you think this hotel will even be open? Or have you ever been to North Korea to see this hotel with your own eyes? You can let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to also hit the like button and subscribe to the channel Tutorial for amazing construction videos like this. Thanks for watching. You have a good and a blessed day. God bless you. Bye.